SMT Nation, we back. Nation, Verizon reported their Q1 earnings, and, there were a lot of things that we got to break down. We'll try to cover most of them here in this video. I've got all the numbers, and, we could discuss them, tear them apart. But I also listened to the earnings call in which the CEO, Hans Vestberg, and their CFO, Tony Skiadas, spoke and answered questions, and I think those were pretty important. So I got all the numbers, I got some of the replies and the answers to those questions. We'll discuss it here in today's video. Please do like and share this video. Subscribe if you're new here. Turn on the bell notifications icon to never miss an upload. And I'll be sure to link something for you guys from like the Verizon Investor webpage. That'll be down in the description. Ways to support us can be found there as well. All right, folks. So the gentlemen, Hans and Tony, spoke at the earnings call, and they seemed pretty upbeat. Numbers looked pretty good from the financial side of it. $2.7 billion in free cash flow. The CapEx a bit relaxed. I'm sure investors were happy about those things, so they pushed the financial success of the company. But overall on the day, I think Verizon actually traded down minus 4.6% on the session. So what started as a bit of a pop in the morning ended up becoming a dip of sorts for Verizon, and it was on a day where the S&P, I believe, 80% of the companies in the index were actually green. So kind of shocking. Based on some of these numbers, they didn't really all seem that bad. Best Q1 growth in postpaid phone net adds since 2018 in a Q1. Verizon seems to be more focused on retention and reducing churn more than anything. According to Verizon, my plan is working. Business still is the main key winner. 90,000 postpaid phone net adds in the business side. I know that Q1 2023 was much better in that respect. It was 136,000, so a bit of a regression. Perhaps that was one of the factors that was viewed as a negative. They also had price action, so that improved ARPU, both on the consumer side and on the business side. I know they mentioned they're now up to 11 million broadband subs. They added 151,000 business fixed wireless access customers. Overall, I think they added 389,000 broadband additions. Prepaid wireless was a loss, minus 216,000. It was minus 357,000 last Q1. So I guess an improvement, less bad. Postpaid phone, they did notice that there's lower upgrade rates, so people aren't buying their iPhones as much. My plan seems to be helping with the ARPA at a 4.4% growth rate. 42% of customers are now on premium mix. That's the terminology that Verizon uses. More profitable customers. Perk revenues are increasing. Expect my plan adoption to double by the end of the year, so we'll be looking for that. They are now disclosing fixed wireless access revenues within the wireless service revenue. Specifically, they mentioned $452 million for Q1, which is a $200 million increase year over year. Prepaid revenues down. They're minus $100 million year over year, so prepaid still a real issue. Churn, pretty normal. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Even with the price hikes, which happened in March, we may see something in Q2, so we'll watch that. They seem very, very focused on churn management. So they want to keep their customers. They want to sell them to premium. That really hasn't changed much, but they do want to service all customers in some way, shape, or form. They spoke to the commitment to the investor. The dividend is secure. They'll continue to increase that. They're looking to deleverage more so in the second half of the year, basically paying down debt. They're looking to run some cost operation reductions, AI to help with customer care costs, and power savings, machine learning, things of that nature. Now, with respect to the network, and you guys probably want to know about this, they did officially cross 250 plus million pops of C-band, and they said this is ahead of schedule. The first 76 markets seem to be like they're furthest along with those. Higher premium mix in those places, lower churn rates in those places, 4 basis points lower, and higher gross adds in those places. So that's telling, because if your churn rate's 0.89 overall, that means in places without C-band built well, you're looking at like a 0.93, 0.94 type of churn rate. So that could be the reason why Verizon's churn rate stays in the upper 8s when historically it's been lower 8s, even upper 7s. So that's something we'll continue to monitor as they build out the C-band. One of the things that Hans mentioned was building the network once. And I thought that was interesting. I think what they're, again, trying to stress to the investor is cost savings and reducing capex. With respect to Verizon answering questions, it does appear, based on commentary, that they're juicing their base. They're milking ants at this point. They like the customers they have. They know they're premium, and they're trying to upsell them as much as possible through the Verizon brand. There was a decline in accounts that was notable. Business, they still seem to grow. Broadband, they seem to win. The whole concept of building the network once for quote-unquote profitable customers, I think that was something I took away from the question and answer session. My plan, only working on existing customers, seems to be the case. They asked their customers what they wanted. My plan is what they decided is what they wanted. Enterprise and business, small business customers, really taking to fixed wireless access to replace legacy cable plans. Postpaid phone net additions, they're probably going to end up being positive on the year. I think that's what Verizon is going to focus on. They're going to look at things from an annual basis. So if Q1 is less bad and they get growth Q2, 3, and 4, they're just going to look at it from a successful year standpoint. There was a question about spectrum, a question in regards to like needing more capacity in the future. Verizon, they didn't want to really say anything about like acquisitions of spectrum or other company assets like US Cellular, Dish. They're really focused on C-band. They've got more work to do. They want to build deeper. He did say that C-band was their spectrum for the decade. C-band's basically going to be their low band moving forward, guys. He did speak to that. Millimeter wave's still going to be an asset they use. He's excited about C-band because you don't need to put up more radios. You don't have to get people in new phones, right? If they've got a recent phone, it's covered. And it's true, there's a whole bunch of adoption to those things. He did speak to regional densification as an approach. I think that just means in places where they have high market share, they'll be adding cell sites to just deal with congestion or excess demand. So just look for more cell sites and small cells from Verizon in markets that call for it, where there's a lot of usage. There was a question about open access fiber. If you guys think like T-Mobile, how they're doing those partnerships with T-Fiber. Hans was pretty transparent about this. He said they haven't really looked at it yet with respect to making a decision on it. They're considering things. It's not that they're not open to it, but they're just focused on Fios and their own One Fiber program. He said we have our own money. Basically, we can build our own fiber. That's kind of my takeaway. With regard to BEAD programs, they're picking their spots, like Pennsylvania. They're always doing the return on investment analysis, and they'll be involved there. Something I caught, and for those of you that stayed to the end, this one's pretty big. Apparently, there's an MDU and millimeter wave fixed wireless access program project that they're looking to do, and we're going to get more transparency on it as an end-of-the-year project. So this would basically mean that Verizon is going to have millimeter wave solutions targeting apartments and condos, where Verizon historically, Fios doesn't really get involved too much because of their limited reach. But this would be Verizon Wireless, the 5G home, getting involved on this level. And typically those have been areas where cable has been the winner, and they've got exclusivity deals with MDUs, apartments, and condos. Verizon could be disruptive here, and maybe they've been waiting on a certain technology. Maybe it's a certain gateway. Who knows? Maybe it's just the planning phases. But that could be something that we're monitoring. We'll look for more news on that towards the end of the year. Anyways, that's the rundown. AT&T is reporting next. They haven't released earnings yet at the time of this recording, but they should be out soon. Keep it locked and keep it tuned as we compare the quarters between AT&T and Verizon, and then later this week with T-Mobile. Thanks for watching, folks. Do comment and let me know what you guys think of the numbers, and why do you think Verizon was viewed so poorly by the market with response to this? I didn't see it as that bad of a quarter, but what say you? Sound off in the comment section below. You're all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.